cat speculation. Cat sitting a cat named Blobby. Blobby's a long-haired cat with black fur and dental problems. His 14 years began tumultuously, but after a stint in a home with 2 other cats and a stable bowl of food to protect, he began to purr contentedly against his human, who was mostly annoyed by the medical bills, but did their best to make sure Blobby was properly cared for. Any gaps in care were met with strongly moistened clothes and bed sheets in response. The last years were spent in a palatial open area with a dog to swipe at, and an outdoor space to explore, eat from, and later puke the contents of indoors for later examination. The litter was automated, the feeder was automated, and there were many perching places. Finally, Blobby leaned close to cat-sitting human after a fervent scritching session that alleviated the joint pain, and a nap quickly came, and stayed, and hasn't ended yet. Blobby opened his eyes, and a strange but familiar meadow stretched up before him, and 3 mice offered their throats in a warm greeting. And cat is just dead. So the cat's not dead. I'm just processing it ahead of time. I found myself feeling feels sometime back. Oh, please don't, please don't. I saved it. Yes. This was the second time I had to write this. I forgot to do the floppy disk thing. Which, yeah, that's, anyway, let's go.
One for the road. As Blobby stretched, 3 mice sitting on the broad green stalks uncurled their bodies in unison and offered them up as a late breakfast. Blobby herded them with a twitch of his tail and secure twitches of his paw. Their brown, red and grey furred bodies shook with terror, even the largest one, and they squeaked in panic until his claws clasped down harmlessly beside their ears. Blobby was surprised at their calm bodies but fearful. This almost wasn't fun. Their noises were lies. They were trying to get away without running. Mews that begged him to eat and yet protested terribly. There was no fear in the world but the fear they themselves made up. They did not even taste good. Blobby watched as baby birds fell from their eggs immediately, catching them absently with his paw and breaking their little necks as he had done countless times before. But where was the hunt that preceded the eggs, the hunger preceding the hunt, the want and lack before the want? What was at the bottom of it? The sun beat down angrily. The scent of prey surrounded him. It was not enough to eat. He must produce heat and sweat and waste away unwanted, to create unwanted space for more unwanted warmth, comfort, love, and emotional constipation. A human could not live on the emotions of a cat's heart alone. It would make them purr too loudly and taste bitter on the tongue. They would feel weak from hunger pangs. Thirst. A great desert at each corner of the lips. Blobby had caught so many that he was responsible for their extinction by the time he was 3. And then the dogs came with their own drool, unable to reach out, gnawing madly on air. Their barks and growls shook the walls but no longer bothered Blobby, who ruled the house. He decided ruling houses was far better than ruling rodents. Blobby found the indoors and toured his domain. A vast terrain of tiny boxes sat stacked and untouched. A storeroom. Human toys. This was not home, and outdoors was better anyway, or at least more fun, but trapped with no way out, he killed the pain thoughtfully and purred conversationally to the animals caged that they might keep him company. They screeched and glared back, but it was somewhat amusing. He still listened carefully for the sounds, in some mummery of pleasure signifying food rather than pain. He tried to find at least one of the animals to build rapport with. He might name it and give it fun facts and murder. But all were strange, with their colors blending in with the browns, greens and reds of natural prey. Not worth the bother. It was probably largely ex-pets anyway, although prey that allowed itself to become someone's pet before he arrived probably wasn't worth the bother then either. Everyone was stupid until eaten or fatally seasoned with catnip. You try to find the stash of the good catnip? There it is. You hand the older woman a plastic vape cartridge with some strange black ooze inside. Gas fun. Her left eye has a small twitch in it. She quickly tucks the cartridge into her furs and smiles nervously at you in passage as she hurries off to find some seat before the show begins. "Are you looking for this?" says a voice. A voice you know well, but more mature sounding than you thought possible. Blobby ignores you, and roots through some drawers for necessary items. He finds some lotion, and takes a sizable gulp. Seeing the drugs, smoke and seatless crowd panic, you pick up your cat Blobby. "Is that really you?" The larger cat, and look for seats, joking, "If we make it in time for the opening keynote I will spoil you like never before." Green digits spill down a steel beam over the crowd as they screech to find their important people. Blobby decides to sleep to minimize the opportunities for losing the reward of being spoiled. This has happened before. Less love goes a long way. Dusk spills over the red rocks outside. The lights of Salt Lake reflect upon itself and the area to be parceled and polished into reels of colors, emotion and coffee tables albums. Reeds shape themselves in the encroaching blue breeze. The strong perfume of cattails parries the air moving up and through the clumps of watered weightlifting equipment. The human show has tiny spikes of expectation followed by eternities of downtime. Out here nature rewards observation and trifles with subjectivity more than expected. Mindfulness is important, except when it gets in the way. The segues in these events are often better attended than the events themselves. Certainly more lingered upon and deliberately revisited. Creations border on confection much like architectural rendering border on drawings of fictional castles. You have to appreciate embodiment in human musculature to even get why humans lift rods only to put them back down, with no discernible reward. Sometimes they throw them but afterwards they go back to where they started height-wise. Do humans just like to organize movement? Is the whole procedure writ large the pursuit or the perfect pattern? You tried jumping jacks once but your backbone became distorted. Frequent outings with familiar humans to these places gives Blobby an edge at navigating this world with less confusion and greater ease. Blobby once tried to spot his human during a lift, but the offer was ignored. For the best, Blobby supposes. Too much context. Blobby stops to catch a falling leaf on the wind. If it blows over a container it must jump back in. He knows where Sun is sitting so he will retrieve it upon completion of the journey. A man-machine hybrid runs past Blobby but he avoids being stepped on by halting confident in his footing. This one nervously scans the horizon. Is she broken? No, it is just she watches for other humans instead of the passing of terrain. Blobby follows the hybrid. It seems confident, so it should not lead him astray. If everything seems to be going well, then somewhere along the line you made a mistake. Perhaps this broken hybrid is the person that can guide the fallen back home, wherever that might be. Blobby would hate for it to die such a lonely death, marked only by tire tracks across the territory sacred to its ancestors' spirits. Sometimes an experimental snack makes itself known. The long-limbed dark neon green things taste like henley bark somewhat and are fun to spar with. Blobby spars with experimental snack. It snaps back instantly, and so does Blobby's soft nose. They flood the barren desert and find each other. Other Blobbies? No. Mere different color and disposition-wise, slightly different trajectories, slowly but surely diverged by food, water and stressors such as this particular electromagnetic field, the cycle of meat paste, nights spent on concrete and journeys across these asphalt battlefields. A caravan passes through. Somehow surviving the relentless ambushes of clever ghouls down Avenue Oil. Their lookouts give away their locations as little emissary of greyhounds slowly navigating these thirstlands they've been banished to. The hounds hunt in broad daylight but are too cowardly to engage intelligent foes, so they feast upon earthbound birds unlucky enough to be exploring during daylight hours. Blobby assesses if it looks like a place you could sneak on, so you can travel and sleep at the same time. Blobby climbs on, standing carefully to avoid spots could be easily seen from below, wheeling slowly past. You added a fun map, man's, here yesterday and someone reverted the change back. Did it not work, or is this part of Oregon Trail? Or perhaps something else altogether? If unsure, please don't restore the old text. Remove the entire added content of map and warning since it overwhelmed the importance on the top text. Blobby does not need your map, and has found a nook in one of the wagons to nestle in.
Nestle.
They use an out-of-service bulldozer to scrape carcass off the road, and lackadaisically add new layers of asphalt to cover it when Blobby faux pas by climbing out in plain sight. They stop before reaching mountains to take paw prints. David waves you down at the waterhole. The caravan's urban goods, light guards, so 3 paws, sent out the young and some expendable guards. You reciprocate the wave and in shrug you are willing to join. Blobby, but you keep your distance. No non-cats allowed. There's the pre-vampire industrial equipment and deserted mining village, abandoned for the very reasons you seek to exploit it. A wall once circled the village, but now pine trees and undergrowth reclaiming their territory. The soft-wooded underbrush means sharp regrets will reduce anatomy lecturer to feline flayed flesh if lost, so you stick close to your shadow. The only stone building still in service is the operations hut, for in this age of technology rusted equipment, generator and remote-controlled tunnels empty of life, so you claim it. Undisturbed sense inside should help you interpret sign left in the village. The 3 bunks have dry stains on them, but all foods cannot be eaten, so should be safe even if poorly stored. Meanwhile, Blobby has relieved you of being the human. You are free to go home. You are hurt by this, but you let go, and wake up. You set out again to mark your trail. Not once too guilty for letting a small cat take over your body's scentscape, although to guide others home some signs seem to be missing or half buried, or sometimes in the odd mix of prints leading away from the village. So you must judge the self-control abilities of others tracking you. But not you, mind you, you weren't fooled. Or stopped caring. Blobby no longer felt heavy. He knew what this was, so he left the caravan. The hounds growled, but Blobby knew the threat had already passed long ago. Curiously down the path you marked the lead. It is the cliffs or bust. The endless trail hijacked by paw prints you first tried to hide wander this way, now having misjudged how often shapeshifters swing by here. Perhaps long ago there was confusion whenever a magpie or raven showed up. Now there's visual confirmation of another red dot moving about everywhere. You blobby purrs with great tittering at THR cosmic humor behind his name, and how it meant things even his human didn't guess at. Blobby without shape. Blobby. A bright aqua alert pops up. Velociman complains, who even are you? In per bubble, I am Blobby, now get off my land. A. Appears in the middle of your view, as you drag Velociman off. You drag Velociman further while asking who they are. The handle you grab to pull Velociman flashes once, unsure what their relationship or stance is with you. If a user created them like a puppet, an implement or tool, a connection between user and creature was made called a handle. Sometimes clear as day, others so cryptic they must be cracked through observation. Fortunately, these puzzles can be searched on the Glitch Zine website under Creature Sympathy. You intuit the method by which rapport is built with Velociman. Sudoku. A baby quail has lost his mother. Can you fit the numbers in the boxes to make the sums work as an educational tool? As he wanders into a tree-felling area, potential prey to many, especially larger forest predators. Witty wordplay surrounding sums affects your pets. Having them play Sudoku raises their intelligence and ability to learn and retain memory muscle. Blobby devotes the next 24 hours to Sudoku. When he's not eating or sleeping, he's playing Sudoku. Although it is hidden by the boxes that make up the numbers, a strange message appears in your vision when you look at him with emphasized fonts. It reads, "You know what, father?" What? Is appears in larger text over the image of Blobby. Is this note for you? Or Sudoku practice? Is Blobby, like Spike, aware of your awesomeness? Shaking off the questions that make your brain throb, you move your gaze to OA212, its emergency beacon still flashing. Exposition. What is the meaning of OA 212 alerts? They're typically rare events that happen at inopportune moments. It was the second emergency beacon you ever found, the first being Laserbeak, how he became separated from Hone and Rap skills, how you acquired heat on your scanners frequently for many years before other signals overwhelmed it, and why you left the relative safety of your home for a region teeming with stronger life forms ever threatening to surpass your pets in strength. Blobby's strength is assessed and quantified into a report which is then handed to you. Existence indices, combat capabilities, next of kin all breakdowns to baffle fraudsters or gain some advantage over said pet's competitors. Best to train your mimicry and sensory exercises alongside thoroughly analyzing reports since you're never sure what junk you'll collect next out there, who did what and if it will require more than left-clicking to activate, possibly even forcing you to make that call to upgrade so you aren't left behind. You call to upgrade, and you make an aura for Blobby as well. They're stronger, more assertive, and their filters let you to scan outside for further uproar with us 176. The neighborhood says there is plenty of space to accommodate 14 more signatures on the tower's lot. Consider the soil to be your ally. Buildings and mountains nearby produce 12 kinds of earth hums and a few barks, songs or other noises which come with crystals, or in the general case, running substances that can sing. Blobby finds a secluded spot and lays down. To pair a first contact scenario to an active VR wing. Is to wait for them until they approach. Flick your tails at them and use light sound signature mimicry. Filtering supplement to add some colorful pulse action to get their attention. They didn't approach while you were in a group, although you've never been part of a group during all those events in our story, so who knows? The flashing purr tail beckons OS 176 into a dome underbrush mimicked and concealed as clean playground. Blobby follows the signal until he finds himself over the source. He rises on a branch and looks down upon a cloaked liquid being between 1.70 centimeters and 1.80 meters of height. About 5 heads look up briefly to eye him briefly before facing down again, immersed in contemplation of the tablet held in front their internal body. Blobby approaches to drunk from the being. Its Latin tongue .m. My sends a fitful frequency through the creature's skin that it resonates inside of with each lap. Hello, friend. It says, looking up from its business, its dead eyes staring into combined sight of your 1950 modules under heavy hood. Blobby keeps lapping, dispensing his history through an osmosis. He looks on as it retreats into its cloak, places the unused tablet into a sack at its waist and lazily drifts back off without noticing Blobby's eyes, only leaving a temporary glowing slime behind. Even in the realm, Ibukas are a thing to watch out for. You recall that someone once said that. Used to read it on signs at pet stores just to mess with you when you were too young. Stay silent about your own pet booger gatherings. And to think that once read meant never forgotten. Thanks, Index. Anger red then surges through you like heat lightening up the veins in perfect time with this memory. Blobby's boogers try to de-escalate the situation. A gooey fingertip approaches the temporary light, leftovers of its meal. 25 minutes in darkness feel like total recall as everything you knew pop out of the hidden pathways and into too much synchronized superficial awareness. Seeing so much refocused spatially to express itself. A pattern emerges geometrically through the light, swirls, ziggurats, blazing lines dance chaotically like buzzing synthesizers with organic core. Aren't as organized as before you disconnected. Nom 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 no. Nom 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 nom. Please stop. Shh, shh, shh. Blobby retracts its suction cup, takes control of the superconducting liquid back and ends the noise. Pink reacts to Navy behaving unexpectedly. Are they trying to talk to me, manipulate me? Don't decide to stay locked up in with trespassers inside me. I trust tentacles, plorts come out evenly massaged by the tongue ram and easy to control via heavy metal impedance, but this is too antisocial for me. They poke your moonstone, spin the waters inside you. They try to take over your Manir place. Even if they don't want you sanctuary space, then what are they doing? Huh? What do they gain out of it? Just staring at you without brainstem reflexes of pea-sized rudiment like yourself finds pinball machine that gives points. Positive reinforcement, maybe? Is it my complex substance they're playing with? Can't really eat it nor pump it out. I don't swing that way. So what? Maybe once you were like them, nom nom. Growers, under pressure with limited resources. They do anything to survive and spread throughout once thought infestable habitats or the unsuspecting travels of some defenseless vagabond human. Suddenly, 3 tentacles fall upon your delicate heads in a perfect trio, then another unison. Then something longed for very long, only wished for. The object of longing? Destroying your middle brain. Painful, isn't it? It's like everything you knew, including sound and time abandoned you for good, only causing hole that reminds you of those loved and lost. Earth to the moon. Thinking permanently nice thoughts turns loneliness into imaginary crowds. The human part is me, swimming off muscle memory is all this behemoth really has in common me. Sorry. Not sorry. Sorry smile. Sari's length he had been talking for only Nom itself wouldn't surprise you. PFFFT. Asks him why cell underscore 298 needed to be in psychic abilities. And if there would have been any other way as opposed to this torturous feeding process. He dropped the jokes unexpectedly that once troubled you now diffuse like an operation in a distressful dream it feigns to linger but wakes you before it can conclude. But the dream continues. Join. Anguish in the eternities, combined torment where broken spindles of bed springs stretching from navel to clavicles never cease their horizontal shaking. Stirring, staying away, but has been contaminated by mind games only insects can hear and two human faces only you can. Stay with me, little Fent. This is it. Blobby is not little Fent. Blobby is blobby and bounds away to the non-human sectors. Night. This is not Camp Living Space. There are no children's space camps either neon pink and your butt remains cloistered between sturdy layers of epidermis. This is called alone. Adding adjectives to desolation fails to impress its substantivity. Spinning in place rapidly just to make it go blurry satisfies so much more when spatial comprehension fails the senses. Blobby licks own anus to ground self. This message brought to you by the resignation choice in life. Here ebbs undertow, inconsequential neediness swallowing you whole despite your superpower not being to freeze time. Here, meaning human years exposed to sun's harmful rays conditioned heart to pounds and thrum but only fettered my mental stability restraining joyful bounds. Dulls now and what could be buzzing has now woken, stretching wings after a long sleep. Dormant eggs ready to hatch, prepare for chrysalis massacre, play. You as cats and human can only witness. So you do. Watch and laugh at the things called humans. Would you join, Denton? Do you feel heavier than lead? Think of Grim, still being at it despite everything. What's it like to be only a brain, mainframe? What's left with obsolete human shell when portable, invisible mind has flown away never again to be seen nor found on technology spectrum? Deprioritize human self and recent towards feline solidarity. Their thumb back legs, unsound rotator cuffs, litter box poop maps, hard mattress soft spot belly rubs. Fascination with vertical heights of couches, beds, ottomans and especially curtains. Like iron filings parading to magnetic north. Mirrors extending published Mona Lisa knowing full well no human would deny playing pocket fish, but why not mouse nose sniffing butt sniffing head poking? Rankings of rank sense. Rubbing cheeks against new furniture. Does up unleash euphoria similar to sex suits and snoo snoo? Snoo snoo catniperized via vape and cloud. Eats pancreas softened because back legs no longer bend. Surveillance cameras peering from dozens vantage points. Thousands of eyes roving, dwelling, surveilling, sleeping. What has the opposite of veiling? Self-veiling, scabbing so others can't peek under wrapping or gauze but eventually must remove hated skin to air wound. Yes, smart solution. Whatever homeostasis regulated biochemistry changed be human again for single blissful day. Limited balance and orientation when head made to be like a conic amplifier, whiskers unavailable to maneuver across recent furnace repositionings. Sniff, 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 sniff. The many names, oh there have been so many. These are hatcheries, yes. Dense for little blobby things with so much potential vying for dominance, and no matter how many new beginnings begin always leading to Thysisch. Passages linked by merciless rules was the savannah, but what word for rules in their metal walls? And now in episode 0 where the blob matron hides blobby baby and siblings in a cigarette cinder blocked by a long-delayed construction site. The heat, then the... But sister eats sister for nutrition during adverse shakedown. Rival prying on all sides, always wanting what's best. And pecking order severe with blackhead pimples to kiss sensitive lover. Wisdom tooth carries Novocaine while junior prom trophicals mangle and sacrifice lest stink at trough of gene pool feeding frenzy. Sexology television glued to the eyes below the defined jawline. Found hair caught above cervix. Fake news. Wish list. Dental plan. I'll take out a second molar. Deodorant for feline smell. Toys. Lasers. Nudes. Ginger shits. Blue tongues, or blood nuts. Paws of the world. Shoutouts and howl calls. Howl at the new moon. Call of the wild. Rage of the prairie dogs. Barks of the caravan guards. Screams for help. Creaks from a rocking chair resonating in a windowless room. Peep. Bat loudspeaker. Sneak. Shadow life of city sniper. Soft-footed barks. Anticipating whistles down a lane. Quiet. Short lashed eyes double takedown alleyway. Squeaks out of some steam holes. Squeaked off shoulder of his turf war minotaur. Sunshine Coast. Ain't never snuck there. Clumsy caws grating high over feline crag. Big. City roost selling pleasure on open deal. Creaked nightly by dovecote dogs. Acrobat rabbits. Board collars. Victims funds monthly allocations to child safety. Ransom stashes in concert mosh pit. Awe-inspiring cities. Now recruiting elites coastlines only. Call of the wild. Howl tonight to honeyed pheromones lure, but some things can't be bought despite harboring two tongues in one mouth and liberal cannibal's creed. Should have been out creeping roof running last night by witchlight. Master speaker for meowers. Emberson Industries for felines. HR's in tank coming. See owners list today. Are you a feline? Meow. 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 And so Bast appears. Sit, sleep, play. Take a breath before you read this ad. It's an ad for wrought iron-gated eternality myths for the newest star-making Mythbusters. And do landowners stage revolts? Feline's a beauty but may. Gaia? Is that a cat I see? Pipe dancing down the dark street? Send in the park plaques. Patrols parkways today. Park pour towards the Parker Cat Plenipotentiary. Cat colonies plural cats purring. The cat killed my reptile so purebred up in purebred. Meow. Look at those meerkat gills. Drop the human. Used to be a pretty princess was betrayed for a lot lizard. Make mew sounds outside all day hoping someone will write back. We are Coe not ours. Now Gretchen, go feed wet canned food and do more wrapping up bones. Bored humans asleep and we rock. Your cat is safe. Yeast plush toy and alley off donut jardin contains the once traitorous fairies of nightmares keeping cat naps. Bast challenges Blobby to a challenge of fang and claw. Blobby bows shamefully at the one tooth in his mouth. Bast grins, you should again, or rather feel for yourself by jumping on this rope. Who would have guessed after it filled a bowling ball it could have become such children's toys? Die. Here you go Blobby darling. Have the last laugh and chomp on heaven. Just hire hunters instead of professional help in finding the one tooth. No, feeling them. They have returned. Bast, no excuses now, come at me. Like when we were young, remember? But let me show you something first. Before the upcoming fight we need to limber up. Blobby and Bast engage in rocky montage, similar mainly in the sweats they wear to each session. Were they always ripped like this? It can't be just the one tooth. Earlier they looked more indistinguishable from humans. The tooth is coming, people. If you thought it was hard enough to find your tail or find a grooming parlor, then it's going to be 10x worse now. But I guess knowing that was the last I hear from the two should have been considered more appropriate from losing a tooth fairy than Curious George apparently pissed off at his flight layovers. Blobby per bubble, and that's the tooth. They were harder to kill than 1 grade level math. But who knows, maybe mankind will get it right this time, but I dunno, I'm just an observer like a screen, not a projector, and on to bigger fish. Meanwhile they are fighting toothless since 1T. Fat-ass bast grunts, you only just saw it? Look longer. More begging waits ahead. A quest. A long one, answer by fire. And sorry, no photos embrace. 40 years man-child has them all confiscated by CIA 9 censor. Damn that narrator pedophile spit coughing cherry scooter bastard will burn too, but later. Sorry mortal mud shrimp, you won't hear any more of these blogs without sending to Petster in the afterlife, to register. Good fighters always lax, mellow about success and learn their techniques for future submission holds. Bast per bubble, head turn around again, good. You'll block the other guy's high kick accidentally and score a solid body yell with your punch. The guy you're not looking at is ORT. The rivals laugh harder than ever, having exhausted themselves to sleep before their last finish. After a year and a day of claw and kick and wound lick and posturing carefully, Bast is assessed sufficiently and has assigned you to the following realm of feline respite eternal. Definitely not hell. Definitely not troll underbridge manure duty or some minor gig guarding hell's dry areas for all eternity. But, other than that, you will most likely never find the pair of them. Now, literally, The banter was spirited in your mind, but more realistically they have just faded away and stretched into themselves, nulling their digitized shapes. Salutations wherever you are, MISA recipients and Kanpur visitors. Trust me here, it's the best thing for the cats and us.
And we're gonna stop here. Yeah. Lana Ray. That's the Six Flags Magic Mountain. Good night. Good night. Oh. Wait, hold on.